Garland ISD family, thank you for joining our Facebook Live via Zoom. My name is Jonathan Armstrong, and I'm the coordinator for the Family and Community Engagement Department. And we are here with some special guests. We're going to talk about STEAM. That's science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And we will hear about programs the district offers, how GISD supports STEAM learning, and then resources and strategies for families so that they can support STEAM learning at home. And I have some questions prepared for tonight. We will also be looking for questions in the chat. So families, please comment on this video with any questions you have. Our team is monitoring the chat, and they'll be answering some of the questions and then selecting some to ask the panel members. So as always, please remember to like and share this video. So question number one, hello, amazing panel members. We would love for you to please introduce yourself and tell us about how you serve families in GISD. And Ms. Alexander, if we could start with you.
Well, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Again, my name is Cheryl Alexander, and I am one of the executive directors of leadership within the district. My role serves the families and community of Garland ISD by working directly with elementary campuses. We do have elementary executive directors of leadership and secondary, and I am one of the team members that works with the elementary campuses. So we support principals, we support teachers, and thereby supporting students and families as a result of that. So I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to this evening.
We're so glad you're here. Mr. Bruman, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Coleman Bruman. I'm the proud principal of the Gilbert III Career and Technical Center. We get to serve the district in a very unique way. I'm very fortunate to serve all 7 high schools in Garland ISD. We predominantly have juniors and seniors, but we have about 50 sophomores in some of our classes. But any kid in Garland, as long as they're enrolled in one of our high schools, can come experience career and technical education at my school. And I'm just proud to be here.
We're glad you're here. And next we have Dr. Laday.
Greetings, Garland ISD parents, family members, staff members, any other community members that are joining us tonight. My name is Dr. Adrian Laday. I'm the principal of Watson MST, the place to be, our elementary math, science, and technology center. We have a sister campus in Beaver MST, which is located in the North Garland area. We're located off the Magnet Mile there off of Dairy Road. And I have the great pleasure of working with 540 excited kindergarten through 5th graders every day and making sure that they have great experiences that are associated with STEAM.
Dr. Laday, it looks like you're in a non-traditional setting.
Yes, just like many parents, I am a Garland ISD parent, and tonight I'm a baseball parent. So in the background behind my phone, which I'm trying to hold as still as I can, is my son playing a doubleheader tonight. We're only in game 1. So I wanted to make sure to be here for my son, but also wanted to be here for the parents, students, and community members of Garland ISD.
Well, we're glad you're here, sir. Thank you. Next, we have Miss Luna. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I am Missy Luna. I am also a parent and former student of Garland ISD. I support through helping teachers and students through the creation of science curriculum resources in the elementary realm. And that also includes infusing STEAM throughout our learning experiences, celebrating STEAM during our big events like STEAMposium, and also having the privilege to facilitate the elementary robotics program, which I have to admit is one of my happy places.
All right, awesome. And last but not least, we have Ms. Mulvihill. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Ann Mulvihill, and I am the counterpart to Missy over secondary in grades 6 through 12. So I oversee all of the science curriculum as well as infusing the STEM components within those courses in grades 6 through 12. And of course, the new culminating event of the big culminating event of STEAMposium that is in the spring, but at the same time, we try to infuse that within the school year in the curriculum units or in the STEM nights on the campuses.
So everything is all year long and then a culminating STEAMposium.
Right, because if you think of it as STEM being a process where certain tasks focus on that engineering design process where you plan, so you design, then you test that design, and then you will redesign it and retest it. So there are times where certain parts of the curriculum will have the process that STEAM events and tasks and challenges go through when it's directly related to their standards of their course. As often as we can, those scenarios exist. Yes, sir.
All right. So it's a
So
year-long
happy to be
process.
here. Thank you.
And our kids are immersed. And y'all are the people responsible for immersing our kids day in and day out all across the campus. And we are so glad you're here with us tonight. So what I would like to do is get the ball rolling with Miss Alexander. Miss Alexander, can you share with us kind of the overarching district goals in the area of STEAM and then some of those things that we're doing to reach that goal?
Yes, I'd be happy to. I think both Missy and Ann hit on some of the components that I feel are important when we think about what our district is proposing to focus on when it comes to educating our students. We are always seeking to educate the whole child. We are also very aware that we're preparing these children now for, in some cases, career paths that they know about, but also career paths that have not even been discovered yet. And so a huge piece of that preparation involves critical thinking, exploration, analysis, creativity. And when you think about all of those components, you find that when you enmesh the STEAM components within the curriculum, when you have those components in lessons in the classroom. And so you're allowing students to tap into what their special gift might be through one of those avenues, be it the science part, the engineering part, the mathematics, the arts. Any of those components really goes into cultivating the entire child. And as a district, that's what we're seeking to do. Test scores are great. We all know that's important, but creating children who grow up to be productive thinkers in this world, that's what we're seeking. So if I had to sum it up, that's what I would say our goal is in our district. So
creating the mindset of
Yes.
STEAM before
Yes.
worrying about the grades that go with STEAM.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, thank you. So along those lines then, we start breaking those down. Mr. Bruman, can you tell us about the STEAM learning happening at the Gilbert Reed Career Technical Center and maybe how students qualify to take classes at your school? And then, for parents of middle schoolers, how do they get their child ready for this type of learning?
You're loading me up there, so I'll
That's
kind of
3 questions in one.
So with STEAM learning at the GRCTC and really with career tech in general, it's less about calling out those specific letters that make up STEAM. And I'm actually going to follow Miss Alexander's lead. And actually, it's about problem solving and making sure that in my building, it's about the hands-on component. It could be something as simple as we're making cookies in our pastry culinary lab, but if I use a cup for flour and pour water in that, I actually don't have the right amount of water, or vice versa. And so it'll make the cookie kind of flatten out and become dull. And it can be that simple, or it can be as big as things as just recently, we've done a lot of news stories about our engineering program and how they partnered with our firefighting program to problem solve around what do firefighters need. And one of those problems that they discovered was firefighters have a hard time cleaning their boots. If you know anything about a fire, besides the smoke, there's usually dirt, grime, bloodborne pathogens, like everything ends up on their boot. And so our kids, through our partnership with Garland Fire Department and with our firefighting kids on campus, they designed and developed a UV cleaning box that does all the work for them. And they've been doing ongoing research for the last 3 years. We got a $10,000 grant from MIT that we presented last summer, and they're continuing to give us more money. And so it's through those partnerships and conversations and collaboration that we're able to really drive home what STEAM is in that final product, because that's really what it's about. Can I look at something and take those hardwired skills that I've learned from elementary through middle, even into high school, and know that, okay, if I got to put this angle together, I've got to know Pythagorean theorem. Like, it really makes no sense sitting in algebra 2, but when you finally have to do it for real and then weld it, that's it. And so that it's really an everyday thing at my campus, and we're proud to really just show it off to everybody. How students qualify to get to my campus, it's really simple. Be a GISD kid, and like, that's the main part of it. But a student does have to have the prerequisite class for many of our programs, and they're really just as simple as a principles of architecture class that's offered at the high school and even maybe at the middle school. And then we do require a little bit better attendance than most, because you are traveling from another campus 2 hours, and we simply want to make sure that kids get there. But besides that, we're a home for every kid in Garland ISD. We are not a magnet program. We simply drive our success by kids that want it. And that feels awesome. Like, that changes environments, it changes kids' attitudes. It's the best thing ever. So what can a middle school family do? Reach out beyond some of those traditional middle school programs. Middle school can get kind of lockstep. Usually you get your 6 core, and you get to pick between the I believe it's band, theater, and choir, and that's your only choice 6th grade year. But 7th grade year, you actually can start to open that door to the principals classes. And our district has been very forward thinking. We've pushed a lot of our principles of career tech classes down into the middle schools, so the kids can get a taste of it. So that way they can start building that interest level. And that way, by the time they get to me at the end of their program of study, they're ready to roll. They can get industry-based certifications and even jobs. So it's just a awesome experience. I don't know. I hope you hear it in my voice. I just love talking about it.
Well, I really hope families heard a couple of things from what you said. One is it's not a paper and pencil school. Kids have their hands on the technology, and it's not some little project. It is real world learning. And so a baker is learning how to bake, and a welder is learning how to weld, and they're using problem solving. So they're developing the mindset and the attitude of success in their field as they work on these. I mean, like, wow, how amazing is that, to be able to talk to someone and say, yeah, my project got funded by MIT, right? That's just amazing. But then also that for the families that are like, man, that's really neat, but I've got a 6th grader or a 5th grader right now, having that conversation with the school counselor at the middle school level, and really making sure that people understand the family's goals and the child's goals, so that they can pick the right classes and get into the right programs early that prepare them for applying and being accepted to the GRCTC. Did I do a fair sum up there, right? I mean, did I give your answer justice?
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
The add to that counselor part, I just want to tell families for sure, getting everything handled in middle school makes so much more room as they go up the chain. To take classes at the GRCTC, they're all advanced level CTE classes. So you got to have a lot of room in your schedule. So handling your STAR scores, handling all your credits, you got to build space for those things you truly want to do. And so that really, there's a big conversation probably in middle school, like, hey, you got to stay focused. It's really simple right now, but you can really push your thinking in about 2 years. And so really driving that home.
So when a student says, well, I'm going to take these classes because all my friends are in there, it's the parents' job to kind of steer it towards, let's talk about the future. All right, awesome. Dr. Laday, we just heard about STEAM at the high school level, but what kind of exploration experiences are students having at Watson? And then again, how can parents explore getting their students into Watson? But also, how can parents support STEAM learning at home?
Well, first of all, just being a former secondary person, I'm going to tell you that GRCTC is a magnificent place. And Mr. Bruman is an exceptional leader. So if you get the opportunity to take the tour, like many of our students are doing, I would strongly recommend that. What we are focused on through the math, science, technology program that you receive at both Watson and at Beaver is we focus on a couple of signature programs. One of the signature programs that we have is an actual STEAM school offering, where in 6-week intervals, students essentially get to choose an elective that is connected to STEAM. You may ask what electives are offered. We offer things like gardening, we offer coding, we offer chess, we offer, we have an artistic, our teacher is doing photography, I believe in the spring is what he's looking for once we get the cameras. And what we are really focused on is each one of our classroom teachers find ways to bring STEAM into the classroom setting, whether they're teaching English, math, science, social studies. It doesn't matter, because there's all kinds of opportunities for us to be able to engage in the opportunity to bring STEAM to students. One of the things that you heard mentioned was the mindset of students. One of the things we focus on is we do problem-based learning. And we like to make sure that our students work as much as possible in collaborative teams. And we're talking even in kindergarten. In kindergarten, it's funny, the things that we learn in kindergarten are things that will make us successful in life. How to share, how to make sure to consider other people's feelings, how to make sure that we communicate effectively and listen to others effectively. These are all traits that we are building from kindergarten on moving forward, not only with what we do with STEAM, but also what we do with our social emotional learning component, which is part of the district focus. Our objective is to create students who understand who they are, who understand what skills are required for them to be successful, and who are able to apply those skills in a team setting. The objective for us is to make sure that their exposure is there to that, specifically through STEAM, but in all aspects. As far as access to the program, it is a magnet program, and students have to have scores of the 75th percentile in both math and reading, as found on MAP testing. The district MAP testing is offered every single year, 3 times a year, and generally speaking, we look at beginning of year and middle of year MAP scores to determine eligibility for the success of school year. So students who are interested in attending, parents who are interested in having their students attend, we go through that process of students being able to be eligible for the program. And then there's a lottery system for those students to be participating. Oftentimes we have quite a few more students who are interested in the program than we have spaces. But one of the things that's interesting about our MST magnet program is that it is a magnet program that is heterogeneously mixed. What that means is that magnet and non-magnet students are in the same classes. So even a kid who is non-magnet that attends Watson or Beaver is going to get the magnet experience that those magnet students get who are bused in or who are in due to eligibility requirements. So what we do is we make sure that every single kid, like I said, all 535 of my babies get the same quality experience and get the chance to be connected to a STEAM program. The things that I will tell parents that you'll need to work with students on is this. First, make sure that students are, even though it's not in STEAM, that they're reading and that you read to them. The use of vocabulary is very, very beneficial with students. The more words they know, the more things they understand, the more successful they'll be in comprehending new concepts, new theories that they're exposed to, new learning opportunities. The second thing that I'll tell them in order to be very successful in STEAM is this. Make sure that kids know how to work with others and to communicate what they think and feel while respecting the thoughts and feelings of others. Again, these are, what would be determined to be soft skills, but these soft skills are readily applicable to what we do in a STEAM program. We want group projects. We want we want us to be able to leverage the insights and the intellect of every person in the group. Because oftentimes when only one person is working on this stuff, you'll get a solution, but you'll get the best solution when you get as many minds working on it as possible. And some of the greatest inventions that we'll ever see have come about not just because of the smart people who we think invented it at the time, but it's also because of those other people who saw the flaws in it and helped them tweak it and make it better. So our objective at Watson and at Beaver is to make sure that our students get the chance to engage in those communications with one another, that they get the chance to be able to build products together that will be greater than it would be if they were doing it alone.
Wow. So many people think of these schools as just a place to go if you're good at math, right? But I heard from your answer, and I remember reading an article the other day, and the article was like ink or money or you know, but it was like the top 10 skills needed to succeed in business. And none of them were the hard skills or the science skills. And I know you said soft skills, but they're actually hard for a lot of people, right? And the economist James Heckman calls them non-cognitive skills because empathy, perspective taking, listening, being respectful, being dependable and persistent when things are hard, if you can keep going. These are things that I hear people talking about tonight. And those are things that will, if a child's great at math and loves to build roller coasters at your school, it doesn't mean he will always be an engineer, but he will always have the skills he learned at your school, right? And so,
and if I may add, I'm sorry, if I may add one more thing. I'm talking to you not only as the principal of Watson MSD, but also a parent. Yep. My son started at Watson as a kindergartner, and he is now in his 4th grade year. So he got here before me. So he's very quick to tell me, Dad, it's not your school, it's my school. But I bring that up to you because what I want you to understand is that what I'm providing for you as a parent is from personal experience of working with the child that I have, who is a student there at the school. I myself am a magnet kid from Garland ISD, went to Austin Academy, was in the IB program at Garland High School. I have a degree in biology, a minor in chemistry, and a master's in mathematics before this doctoral degree. So STEAM is my, for lack of a better expression, STEAM is my jam. And so I'm saying these things to parents to say, if you have a student that has a passion for STEAM, cultivate that in all the ways that are being described on this Facebook Live tonight.
And for parents who have a child that doesn't go to Watson, but they're listening to see what we are talking about with STEAM, I would just like to give kudos to the counseling department for the hard work they've put into infusing the social emotional learning across all campuses, across all grade levels, because these are not soft skills. They are essential to success in the workplace and in school. And the students that are able to master these skills, research will show that they are more successful academically. They are more successful in terms of their own sense of happiness with the work that they're doing. And so I hear what you're describing for Watson, but I want families to know that Watson does not have a monopoly on great learning. It's just a STEAM campus. And so because it is a STEAM campus, and because not every child who wants to go is able to get into Watson or Beaver, Ms. Luna, what are some of the district-wide STEAM enrichment and intervention initiatives that are available for all students at the elementary level?
Awesome. Thank you for asking me that question. So I am excited to be able to say we have STEAM-focused curricular projects throughout the year available for all campuses. So we actually just kicked off our main STEAM-focused project in September for our very first grade level, and then we'll continue all the way throughout the year. So throughout the curriculum, we have a lot of STEM and focused follow-ups, or we call them check for understandings, but then we have specific challenges or opportunities where students really get to focus on that integration. And it isn't just looking at this lens through science anymore. It's really ensuring that we have the connection of engineering. We're looking at the aesthetics of the arts. We understand the mathematics connection, and then technology is pulling it all together through the communication aspect. And the presentation aspect. Then we also have coding in elementary. It's highlighted at the beginning of the year in September as a coding week, but it's free and available through other programs like VEX VR all year long. And so our robotics kiddos are coding all year long. We have intercession offerings for coding and for robotics. So those are also other offerings that students that aren't available or able to go to an MST school would have. We have after-school enrichment programs throughout with robotics, where students are challenged to approach a new task and then develop solutions, test, and improve throughout the entire year. And then throughout this entire process, they're communicating through notebooking and interviews. And so it's seeing a third grader explaining their process and why they decided to create a launcher, as they call it, to propel, a ball through the air. And they're explaining, the arm fell apart and I just had to do this. And so our team talked together about the best way to handle it. And we tried it, that didn't work. So we're looking at another way. That resiliency, that explore through failure and reapplying their understanding is absolutely amazing, and something that we have intentionally encouraged throughout the curriculum.
So would one of the philosophies be it's okay to make mistakes?
Absolutely. So fail's first attempt in learning. It is not the last, it's the first. So it is absolutely okay to make mistakes, explore those mistakes, and try again.
All right. And now, Ms. Mulvihill, we heard from elementary, what district STEAM support enrichment and/or interventions are available for students at the secondary level?
Well, good evening, parents. My name is Ann Mulvihill, and for the secondary side of things, that's a complement to Missy Luna, and what she was referring to in elementary is that we have specific targeted challenges that are available in every grade level in middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th. There's a particular challenge, and the campus and the teachers can choose when they do that in the curriculum, but it's meant to be done throughout the year as opposed to just on one day at our big event. And 6th, 7th, and 8th grade each have a challenge. We're going to have a boating challenge, a catapult challenge, and then a podcast challenge to get that tech piece in. Because believe it or not, our kids need experience in that realm and how they communicate. And I know we've been talking about it being a soft skill, but we all know if you talk to, a recruiter at some of our big companies, I'm familiar and friends with Lockheed Martin, and they'll tell you they can school them up on the content or, the different types of acronyms and things that they need to learn in their engineering field, or whether they're over the whatever particular rocket system that they're talking about or aeronautic piece. But it's really important to have that communicative, collaborative piece for, the supplier piece and the quality control. So for me, the biggest piece that I've tried to embark on is making sure that those components in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and those choices have rigor that allow the student to be challenged through and put through that engineering design process, right? And then biology, chemistry, and physics will have one that's particular to them. But one of the things that is showcased in elementary and in secondary is our maker tank. And Miss Luna is teachers and those classes also can do this as well, is maker tank's been a huge success. Kids have to find a solution to a real world problem, right? And that's the epitome of giving them relevance, and they get to work in a collaborative group. And having that relevancy piece is what I think a parent could take away tonight is, can I create scenarios at home, just myself, that we have this problem or we have this happening? What can we do to solve it? It's that simple. And to me, that's a takeaway as a parent. So the things that Garland ISD is going to provide for your kids is those opportunities for them to maximize an experience in each grade level and subject in secondary, as well as a continuation from their complements in their K-5 curriculum. But to allow them to also be in an environment at the campus level for some competition and some collaboration, because to be honest, the real world involves competition, right? Changing designs to make them cheaper, more affordable, can do more, right? That's the whole reason we're in an iPhone, 12 or 13 now. So I think just being able to have those pieces and those conversations with your kids to spark that interest and to create those scenarios at home, so-and-so can't get from point A to B. If you have a puppy, I mean, it can be just tiny things, but let their mind create and wonder to design something that solves that problem. And to me, as a parent on this call, know that GISD is taking care of those things and allowing those experiences for your kid. And then in a complement, secondary has the CTE department, Dr. Crump, and as well as Dr. Yasna, who is over the robotics and many of the drone projects and the coding. There are programs specific to their daily schedule that they can take as well. And then for me, I'm trying to provide Design, Create, Connect, where students can have STEM experiences in the summer and enrichment programs. And we're looking to keep broadening that horizon with Design, Create, and Connect. And what I love about that company, and this is for the females out there, is it's really important for us to stay focused and stay involved in the game of engineering and STEM. And it's a field that needs more females, as well as students that have English as a second language. So I encourage those females to find those opportunities. We have been trying to pass that information through at our upper grade levels, as well as in our CTE courses. And those will be options for them, hopefully in the summer of 2022 again. So those are kinds of things that are going on in secondary, as well as something just as simple as maybe a parent takeaway tonight. Thank you.
So I heard a few things that I'm really curious about. And so this is for our coordinators. Challenges. So I knew about robotics, right? And I have children in the district, but I never heard of challenges before. And I'm wondering, like, okay, so if my kid is a little bit nervous and doesn't know if she should participate, is this like, well, I didn't sign up in September, so I never get another chance? Or like, so some of our parents may have just learned, like me, just learned about challenges. And how do you find out about challenges? Is it open to any student or just specific students? Like, tell us more, please.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start with the elementary level. The great news is that it's already ingrained in the curriculum. So your kiddos may be involved in challenges and they're not using that word challenge yet. So one example is our Freshwater for Everyone that's in 4th grade. And so every student is learning about the importance of water conservation and having clean drinking water. And every student is involved in creating prototypes to help clean drinking water. And then from there, our students are able to compete within the classroom level, the school level, and then ultimately at the district level. The fantastic thing about this technology aspect that we have all learned to embrace to a whole new degree in the last 2 years is that students can present just like this, speaking to a screen and share everything they've done. They don't have to see the faces of however many people are watching on the other side. And they're able to participate in interviews with one-on-one with facilitators that work with me and describe what they've done. And so it really gives a chance for every student to be involved as those come through their grades.
Now I know why I'm supposed to be saving all the paper towel rolls and cardboard boxes and cans. And I know why my daughter wanted to take my colander to school.
That is it right there.
All right. You've resolved that mystery. I told her no. It sounded like not recyclable. But Ms. Mulvihill, maybe you wanted to talk about challenges in secondary.
Yeah, I think if you were just to define the word challenge, it's basically trying to provide a scenario or a situation that has to be solved. And so they're called design challenges in the sense of they're going to be put through the engineering design process, which means that they've been given this question, this problem to solve. And so there's been a scenario or some sort of setup, and then they need to create, invent, design something, and then they're going to test it, and then they might redesign it and retest it. So the challenge really is a way to think of it as a synonym to scenario-based situation. Some people will actually call it more of a problem-based investigation. And so I would put those in some of the same buckets.
But it's not an after-school program per se. It's not a
No,
sign up for a team.
these challenges are open to all teachers in our district, Missy, as well as myself. We meet with all campus teachers, and they're aware of the challenges that are created by the elementary and secondary STEM teams, which include myself and the instructional design facilitators. They hear about what those challenges are for the year that create the one per grade level or the one per subject, which then allows them to come up with their campus competitions. And then, like she says, certain winners will rise, have the district level, and they culminate into sort of that presentation piece of those for Steamposium. But nonetheless, it honestly, it takes care of still the students being able to have that experience. So those things occur from their teacher on the campus. And so they're informed of it, and then they turn it around at their campuses.
So
That
a
would be
parent who's interested could ask the campus, ask the teacher, and where
absolutely.
would they start it? Okay, so at elementary, there's a homeroom teacher. You kind of know who the main teacher is or the team. What about secondary, where it's really hard sometimes? You don't know which teacher. There's 7 of them.
Right. There are 7 of them. That's correct. I would start with their science teacher because
Okay.
that's the one that more than likely got all the information, understands what the challenges are, has the information and sort of the criteria for submission. And then the teachers then inform us of the campus winners that go on to the district level competition. So they're science teachers by grade level or subject, meaning the biology, chemistry, physics. We also have the maker tank, and then we have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
All right. So final question, and just everyone, please, take a turn to answer from your experience. But what resources do you highly recommend for families and students to support STEM learning at home? And then what have we not discussed that you feel is important for families to know?
I think that one of the main things that every family should focus on is literally let your child explore the things around you. Let them be curious. Most of our students live near a patch of grass somewhere, okay? Explore what you see there. Have them observe what's going on. Watch the ants, watch the butterflies, look at the different flowers and the number of petals that they have, for example. I can tell you as a biology major, some flowers have petals in numbers of 3. Some of them have petals in numbers of 5, and they have different descriptions. They have different characteristics. Let them explore those things. Let them look at the things around them and see if they can see the patterns. See if they can describe those things to you in their own words. It doesn't have to be necessarily the scientific language that they're speaking. What we want them to communicate their thoughts and their ideas and their explorations of what they see. If they can describe a situation, if they can look at a scenario and make some inferences about it, then that is a way to be able to develop that STEAM mindset. That's going to develop that curiosity. That's going to prepare them for opportunities when they look at a project or approach a problem to say, what do I know? What do I realize right now that can help me be successful in understanding this situation and circumstance? And again, I say to every parent, exposure, exposure, exposure. There are a lot of opportunities that we have in our community that are low cost or free. Expose them to as many things as possible. Again, I say a park. We have arboretums in the area. We have zoos, zoo days, and things like that. If your school is taking field trips, as much as you can, allow your students to participate in the field trips. Those are great opportunities to see learning in action. And then finally, parents, ask every single day of your child, what did you learn today? And then listen to them tell you about it. You'd be amazed that if you ask them every day, they're going to expect that they need to have an answer for you. So they're going to be seeking something during the day to make sure that they can tell you that they learned. Okay? My father, my mother, again, I'm a Garland ISD student, would ask me that every single day. And they say, don't tell me you just went to school to eat lunch and play at recess. Those are two very important events and activities, especially in elementary school. But it is important that we make sure that those aren't the only events that our students focus on, and that other activities have value to them as well.
I kind of just want to follow Mr. Laday's there. An important question to even add to that is ask what's something new you learned today that you didn't yesterday. So that way they're even culturing down to that little tidbit that they can plug in and use. I'm also a Garland ISD graduate, so I guess you guys might have done that on purpose, but I'm a proud Rowlett High School graduate, class of 2000, and take us up on the things that we offer. We have a ton of things going on in the district. We had the Wheels of Hope car show last weekend in the community, and if your kid has any interest in mechanics or engineering or old cars, well, that was free, and it was all in downtown Garland, and it was an easy thing to go start those conversations with. The schools are always doing something. This is going to be a self plug, but November 8th, we're doing an open house at our in the evening, so people can go in and out of school, especially as we get ready for choice of school. Go take them up on those different campuses and let your kid voice like, wow, I like that and I didn't like that. And as soon as you can culture that want, kids will do anything, even if your kid's having a hard time with it right now. We see it every day when they walk in our building at the GRCTC. And this one's kind of a push for me. My 8-year-old daughter has her own phone, and it drives me a little nuts, but it's a sign of the times. But if you have a preteen or teenager getting on social media in any way, make sure they follow stuff that's interesting. Like, get in there and have a conversation. There's so many groups and clubs and things that communicate electronically that they can expand their mind so quickly doing that same scrolling motion, and maybe plant something they can ask a teacher about or ask you about later. And so anything just to keep stuff going. And then because we're job readiness, I can't help in there so nothing else gets in the way. And then also making sure they know how to get off that cell phone. At my campus, we make the kids put the cell phone up 3 hours when they come to campus. A high schooler, cell phone and be on time, they're fired. And so if we handle that, and that one's all, the family can teach that one day in, day out, that'll set a kid up for success each and every day.
All right. Anyone else?
I want to follow up. I'm sorry, just really quickly to follow what Dr. Laday and Mr. Bruin just said. I encourage families to make sure that you keep track of what's going on your child's campus by staying in touch with their website, stay in touch with the district website, because again, there are always things going on. Reach out to the science teacher who teaches your child science at the elementary level, at the secondary level. They can be a great resource for ideas that extend on some of the things that you've heard tonight. And so just staying in touch with the school and the different campuses, and finally just realizing that, again, it doesn't have to be something it doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to be something overly complicated. Really, it's almost stop and smelling the roses kind of a thing. If we just stop to look at our world and appreciate the things that go on in our world and question those things and add some what ifs to it to stimulate curiosity and inquiry and thinking, those are the foundations that lead to the type of educational end product that we're all seeking to get to.
I completely agree with Miss Alexander. That was a great stopping and smelling the roses. That's exactly where I was going. Observing and exploring through play is where we want our students to be. Representing our elementary kiddos, we want our kiddos digging in the dirt. We want them discovering the insects. I have a nephew who wants to be an entomologist because he was encouraged to play in the dirt and collect those roly-polies and crickets and so on and so forth. Physics on the playground. Why can I swing so high? What happens when I push my legs like this? What happens when I slide down the slide with shorts versus pants? Encouraging Lego and building and that kind of thing. And then cook with your kids. Kitchen chemistry is huge. They learn how to measure, they learn how to talk about what they're seeing, they learn about the results of their work, and it creates these amazing relationships with your kiddos. It gets get talking about something that they may not be able to express when they're just staring at you face to face. That is huge for relationships, and for exploration. Of course, as a teacher, and an educator, we have resources just everywhere. So if you want a formal resource, a place to go where you can, think about some of those questions, we have Discovery Education and STEM Scopes that are 24/7 as far as availability. Programs like Mythbusters are on Discovery Education and actually have questions that go along with them. So you guys can talk together as a family about what you're watching. National Geographic, it's on our STEAM resource page. If you Google GISD STEAM, you'll see National Geographic is a resource that's available through our library program. And so there are so many things that you can read and explore together.
I was going to mention the same thing with our resource STEM Scopes. It actually has a particular STEAM focus that, as the teachers, there's more in there than we have time for with the standards that we're given. So anything that a teacher shared out, or if a parent had a connection and emailed their teacher, there's things that the teacher could easily share out as ideas that would relate to the particular units that they're always going to be taking throughout the course of the year. I'm going to come at this at a little different than I do agree with all of the people on the panel tonight. I'm going to come at this a little bit different as a secondary person. I think one of the things, we do want kids to wonder and stop and smell the roses. So, but above that, they need to be able to, and having these collaborative type of situations, but on top of that, they need to be able to read and write, and not just but in what I call an academic, technical type of way. So I hope that their English language arts teacher and that they are taking that course seriously, as well as their reading comprehension, because a lot of the manuals, I don't know if you were like me as a kid, but I actually had no problem with reading the instructions, and I preferred that than reading something like Tom Sawyer. So I loved instructions and handbooks and things like that were very, what I would call, nonfiction type text. And so, having your kid make sure the reading and writing component is growing with them throughout their course of wonder, because if you can't write about it and be able to read about it, then you can't continue to, redesign and test and be put through those types of processes. I think that those components exist. And then my second thing for secondary kids is anything you can do that's giving them exposure to things so they can find out what they're passionate about. So to me, I know that when the teenager gets in the car and you're saying, how was your school day? And they kind of grunt or whatnot. If that's not your reality, I hope that they are saying things that were great at school. But I do think in secondary, anything we can do that aligns them to stay on track with their coursework so they can have these other experiences, that's what's important. So those exposures, whether it is taking them to, an arboretum, or it's, taking them to a factory, or getting a walk through somewhere or going to the Perot or the Dallas, the art museum or something like that, just somewhere where you're having that conversation to find out what they're passionate about. Because the most important thing is, if they're passionate about it, then they will try to think of it in with curiosity and wonder. So to me, that's the place that I come from as a secondary person, because they might not want to get in the dirt anymore, but they could at least find out what they're passionate about. And if it's music, and even if it's music that you don't like as a parent, maybe there's something that is a type of machine that they want to make a new sound. Well, that's that problem and scenario / challenge we're talking about. So it can be in anything that they're passionate about. And then the reading and the writing has to come with it to keep them on track. So those are my additions to what my panelists said, because I do agree with them, and amen all of that.
All right. Well, we've gone a little bit longer, I think, than some of the programs in the past, but I don't want to stifle anyone's passion. And I'm so excited to hear that our district has so many people that are really thinking about what do our students need in the future and how do we provide that now? And so families that are watching, I hope you heard things that aren't even about technology, right? We're talking about STEAM, but we heard about relationships. We heard about reading. We heard about parenting. Slow down and be a coach for your child and ask those questions and give your child room. Because I know families, so often they talk about how busy we are. And so you just heard educators giving you permission to slow down a little bit and give your child room to explore and not be overprogrammed, right? So there were so many things that were talked about tonight. Please take a look at the resources that are in the chat. And those are found on our website. And there are things that can support you. You can go to Target and buy a $40 kit that's labeled STEAM, but you don't have to do that. It is all around you. And our district's website has lots of information that will support you as you support your learner, as you support your future scientist. Anyway, that's our commercial for our website. Please go and check out the resources. Panelists, y'all are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. But families, you're amazing too. And the reason we have great students in our district is because you're at home, being a coach, being a support, making sure that your children keep their eye on the ball. So thank you. And good night.